Now we're gonna start the show off on a high note, right?
Let's do it.
You know, I guess for you, right?
Is it a high?
The
I wouldn't say
Celtics.
it's not that much of a
the
high.
Celtics beat the Nets.
Tatum shirt, and I forgot to.
And the first topic of the show is: can the Nets overcome Kevin Durant's injury? Rivs wearing the Andrew Wiggins jersey right here.
Wear your arch nemesis jersey.
What the fuck?
Is that the finals edition one?
Come on.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So now on Twitter, Dehls, you got a lot of shit to talk, right?
I do.
Yeah,
for
you guys
sure.
were going back
So
and forth
I just want you to keep in mind though.
Okay.
Nets with no Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving shot poorly.
As he,
You know, but as a Celtic, you know, I want to give you the floor and I want you to speak. Can the Nets overcome
No JB
KD's
either.
injury
Sure.
and talk about the game last night a little bit?
Yeah,
talk
no
about that.
Jaylen Brown,
There we go.
no Al Horford, back-to-back. Tatum didn't shoot particularly well. Nets had 3 days of rest, but it doesn't really matter. You know, the Nets were missing Kevin Durant, which is, you know, borderline MVP this season. He's been fantastic. So I don't have too many takeaways. I will say, though, there's only been 3 times, I want to say this year, the Nets have been held under 100 points. Celtics have done it twice.
Cool.
Maybe doesn't match up too well. I'm just saying. But we'll get into the topic, which is can the Nets overcome KD's injury? He's expected to be out about a month this season. This was their first full game. I want to say they missed. He got hurt in the game before. They ended up winning that buzzer beater against Miami. It was a great game. In the regular season, I think the Nets will be fine. I'm expecting them to still play around 500 or better basketball. They're 18-2 in their last 20 games, the best stretch in Nets history. A lot of that has to do with Kevin Durant, but this is the best Nets team with this core, Kevin Durant and Kyrie, that we have seen. They have depth. This is the best coach they've had, especially with Jacques Vaughn leading the helm
Second
too.
best. I'm saying second best that he's
Coach?
had. Oh no, I'm sorry, team. Second best team.
If you want to go with Harden, it's just such a small sample size.
I mean, they were 16-3 when all three of them
Yeah,
played
just
at the same
19
time.
They were going to
games.
win the championship. They didn't
Maybe,
get
but
injured.
they're 18-2 with this core.
Oh,
They
this
were
team's
18-2 with
amazing.
This
This
last
team's
20.
amazing in its own
This
right.
team's
said
really
what?
good.
The Nets were going to win the championship.
We're-
had
we-
Harden
listen,
and Kyrie never
have
got
this-
an
we
injury.
have this
Die
debate
on that.
We have this
grandmother
debate
had
every
Barkley.
3
I
months.
doubt it
I'm
because
tired
they
of this debate
dominated
every 3
Boston
months.
in the first round, and
We
then in the
didn't have
second
Jaylen
round,
Brown.
when they
played
faced
Evan
when they
Fournier.
faced the
Kemba Walker.
Milwaukee Bucks in the second round, the Nets were dogging the Bucks
was
with no
2-1.
James Harden.
It was 2-1.
It was 2-0 in Game 3.
No,
the
it was-
Bucks squeaked
no,
by
no,
them.
no,
It
no.
should have been 3-0.
Kyrie played
and
Game 3
Kyrie
fully. It
Irving
was
got
2-1.
hurt Game 4.
Yeah, Game
James
4.
Harden Game 1, the first minute of the game, he got hurt. He was done. He grade 2 hamstring
It
strain.
sounds like a
When
lot
they
of.
were together, nobody was beating that team.
Sounds like a lot of if.
So let me ask you something. If the Nets are healthy with James Harden, Kyrie
I gotta
Irving, and
say,
Kevin
like,
Durant, do they
30
get
seconds
past the
worth of
Milwaukee
stuff.
Bucks?
You spoke well.
Joel, do you not remember that year that I picked the Bucks before they got hurt to go to the finals?
Oh, as did I.
I picked the Bucks.
Watching this series and watching how it panned out.
I don't.
If they
I-
no,
Why do we have this debate? Why do
pick.
we have this debate?
I just-
It's pointless.
He's giving the
It's not
Nets
that
and
it's
Harden.
pointless. I'm
a
just
a pointless debate.
I'm asking you a question.
It's
It's not a debate. I'm asking a question.
It's a
I'm
hypothetical.
asking a question.
We're
Two
supposed to
years
talk
ago.
about the 2023 Nets without Kevin Durant. We're
But
not
then
talking about
then
the
you said
Harden
that this
Nets
is
of
the
2
best
years
team the
ago.
Nets have had. I agree with Drew. It's not the best
not.
team the Nets have had.
This
That's
is
why we
this
talk
is
about
the
it.
deepest team. This is the most complete team. This is the best coach team.
Ooh, it's
If
definitely
you
the
want to
best
say,
coach.
if you want to
Best
say
coach.
straight star power, obviously yes with Harden, but it's also a super small sample size that inevitably did not work out.
Why didn't it work out with Harden?
they're
Kyrie,
always
and KD?
hurt.
They were always
They got hurt in the playoffs, and then the very next year, Kyrie, COVID, that thing.
Well,
derailed
KD got
his-
hurt in the
his
regular
entire
season.
He missed a month.
But Kyrie not being available for home games definitely messed him up big
That's
time.
their fault. That's Kyrie and KD over recent history have known to not be available all the time.
Kyrie's a different case. Kevin Durant did get hurt.
But KD always gets
understand
hurt.
that, but-
Kyrie got hurt again in the playoffs.
Watching Kyrie, Harden, and KD,
You watched
in the
19
playoffs,
games.
but even when they played, they were
played
dominant.
Kemba
They were
Walker,
dominant.
Evan Fournier. I'm
Didn't
not
have Jaylen
moved by
Brown.
that roster.
And Tatum got a game.
That team,
KD
is,
couldn't.
that team. Look, this
50.
Nets
50
team,
W.
this Nets team, Jacques Vaughn. I think he's a better coach than Steve Nash. There's no
sure.
doubt about it. I do like this depth of the Nets
TJ
better.
Warren's been playing great.
but-
Royce O'Neal.
That being said, that Harden team
Loves Harden.
was going to win the championship had they not gotten hurt.
For sure. So let's talk about the 2023 Nets because that's really all I'm worried about at this point before we go on another 10-minute tangent. I think this is a great opportunity. We didn't see it last night, but I do think this is a great opportunity for Ben Simmons. He was very unaggressive, as we've seen really throughout the season. He's had some stretches this year. I think he had a 5-6 game stretch where he had double-digit points, but for the most part, he has not been the most aggressive player. We all know this. He was 0 for 3 last night, the most, embarrassing one, if you want to say, wide open layup. He tries giving it to Claxton. Claxton's not expecting it. It goes out of bounds where he should have simply laid the ball up A lot of that has to do, I think he's scared to shoot free throws, not to say in a rude way. I mean, he's shooting 41% from the free throw line this year. He's not being aggressive, but I think with Kevin Durant out, it's a great opportunity for him to become more aggressive, for him to try to gain some confidence, whether it's attacking the basket, at least at the bare minimum in transition, being able to get some easy buckets there. Because if Ben Simmons can give you 10 points a game, this Nets team looks different. He's averaging around 7, and you know how he could be. He could give you games like yesterday where he has 0. It's his second or third game this season with 0 points. That's going to be very hard, especially in the playoffs. Right now, their best lineup offensively is with Claxton and Ben Simmons out there. You're not going to be able to do that in the playoffs, especially against the Boston Celtics. They're not going to be able to do that. It's just going to cripple your offense when you have two guys who obviously can't space the floor. It's going to be tough when neither of them can shoot free throws. They're both under 50% from the free throw line. Defensively, of course, they're both fantastic defenders, and you want to have them out there. But in crunch time, when it really matters, especially if you have the Nets rolling offensively, all the Celtics forever to play, just foul one of them, put them to the line. It's going to be hard. This Nets team is really good. I still think they're the second best team in the East, and they should still be fine without Kevin Durant. But if you're looking big picture-wise, I mean, I don't want to take too much away from one game against KD, against the Celtics, but they're 2-0. The Celtics are against them. I know no KD. We didn't have Brown or Horford. Sitting here as a Celtics fan, I'm feeling fine against the Nets. I'm not that worried in the 7-game series. They've been playing well. They've been playing really well, but we match up good against y'all. We do. We swept you guys last year. We won 9 in a row. I mean, what can I say?
Gervonta Davis is one of my favorite fighters. And the reason he's one of my favorite fighters
boxing now?
I'm shocked too.
Is because he's going to face Ryan Garcia next, right? And all the internet's talking about is how badly Gervonta is going to beat Ryan Garcia. Whenever Gervonta is asked about it, he says he's going to be a tough opponent. You lack respect for the Nets. That's my point. You lack respect.
Do I not say they're the second best team in the East?
You lack respect for the Nets. You might have said they're the second best team in the East, but what did you follow that up with?
I said I'm comfortable.
You said I'm confident. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the Nets. We match up great
in a row.
That's cool. That don't mean you're going to win 10 in a row. That don't mean you're going to win 11 in a row. That does not mean you're going to win 12 in a row. It does not mean any of that. Watching the game, I felt very good about the Nets. I know they lost. I know, 0-2. Yeah, they're 0-2 against them in the season.
Under 100
Without
points.
Kevin Durant, yes. But without Kevin Durant, I thought they moved the ball well. They shot 45% from the field, 38% from 3. They had more assists, steals, blocks, and less turnovers than the Celtics.
Still lost by double digits.
Because the biggest difference in the game was rebounding. The Nets had 31 to the Celtics 48. You guys had 17 more rebounds than them, and you guys had 12 offensive rebounds, which that gave you guys 12 extra possessions. If you're having 12 more extra possessions in a team, more likely than not, you're going to win. The Nets have to rebound better. Ben Simmons has to be more aggressive. In the first half, it was fine because when he had 10 assists in the first half, I believe it was, to me, I think the Ben Simmons aggressiveness thing holds some truth. But if you're generating 20-plus points, I think you're doing fine offensively. And Ben Simmons actually was the least of the Nets' problems last night. He had a team-high 109.1 offensive rating versus 90.5 when he was off the floor.
The least of their problems with 0 points is crazy.
Yes, I know. 0 points is bad. I wanted him to score in the second half. There's no doubt. I had over 8.5 points for him.
From day one.
There was no chance I was going to win that. Yeah. But Ben Simmons, to me, he knows what he has to do. When asked in a post-game press conference and when he was asked do you feel pressure to be more aggressive, he said, I don't feel pressure, but I know it's something I have to do. Jacque Vaughn is already a coach that is not demanding him to do that. And I like that about Jacque Vaughn. He has a great approach to coaching, and Ben Simmons in the Nets offense is used as a connector. He is like a Draymond role, like a Lonzo to the Bulls role. He's a connector. Do I want him to be more aggressive in trying to look for a shot? Yes, especially with those spaced out lineups where you have O'Neal, Harris, Seth, and a bunch of shooters, and Moran around him, a bunch of shooters around him. But ultimately, I thought Ben played fine. And that play you're talking about where he goes into the basket, Luke Cornett is 7'2", man. And he has a pretty long wingspan.
He had a wide open
I don't think it was wide open.
It was wide open.
It was not. It was not. Look, it was not wide open. And I will say this. Ben Simmons, I'm not mad at that play because if that pass is on the money, it's a Nick Claxton dunk. And go rewatch the play. Nick Claxton was wide open. They were helping over. Ben Simmons puts that pass on the money. That's an easy basket for Nick Claxton.
That shouldn't be a pass. That should be a layup, an easy layup.
I don't think he was wide open, bro. I thought Kornet was going up.
We're talking about Simmons.
Kornet was going up.
Why not just ask him to go up?
He's 6'10", 240.
If he can't go up over Luke Kornet, what are we doing here?
But that play specifically was not a play I looked at and was like, this is horrible, Ben. You know, would I have liked him to do it? Yes, but I thought he made the right basketball play on that one. Ultimately, the Nets lost because Kyrie Irving didn't shoot well. 9 for 24 from the floor, 3 for 11 from 3. But I thought this game showcased, if they play like this against Boston, which they did everything right except rebound the ball, you can beat every other team in the league that are not like the top echelon teams without Kevin Durant. Yep. This is not a team that's going to fall below 500 without KD. As long as they can stay afloat for a month, which that's how long KD's out for, this team will be fine and can hold a top 4 seeding in the Eastern Conference. It was a nice win for the Celtics. It was
a great win.
But I also thought that in the game, we definitely saw why I think Claxton is just as good as Rob Will. You laughed at me for that. Free throws. And now we look at Nicholas Claxton. He had 4 or 5 blocks in the game. Respect Nick Claxton. Respect him. But the Nets played fine. I think they're gonna be fine. I'm really gonna judge these teams when KD,
you might get ran off the court,
and Al Horford all play together. That's the biggest thing for me.
You can't shoot 45. You can't shoot 45% from the free throw line.
Who says they're gonna?
And the Claxton this year is shooting like 45, maybe 47% from the free throw line.
Claxton get better.
Okay, Rob is like a 70-80% free throw shooter.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a huge difference, a massive difference.
Yeah,
that could change a series difference.
Yeah. Well, we're not. I didn't know that the trade deadline happened. The Nets can still make moves.
It's not, but okay, you're gonna take Claxton off the court.
You don't have to take him off the court for the entire game, but you can take him off for stretches.
You've been hyping up Claxton this DPOY. All of a sudden, now you need someone else to come.
He's playing at that level. He has the most. He has the most. Really well. Do you know who has the most points saved in the NBA right now?
Is it Nick Claxton?
Oh yeah, it is Claxton. All right, respect him. He's a DPOY candidate. I'm just saying. Nets. I still. This was a good sign. This game did not make me panic. I thought it was a good game. I did. It was a good game.
I agree. I do think the Nets will be able to stay afloat. I happen to look up their schedule a little bit. It doesn't look like nothing too bad. You know,
the next couple are very low.
Yeah, they got the Suns who are banged up. They got the Thunder. They got the Spurs. Yeah. They go to Golden State next week. They got Utah.
That's tough.
So they got Detroit. They got a couple good. They'll be fine. I think they'll stay within the top 3, top 4 seed. As long as they stay there, when Kevin Durant gets back, there's no problems. So I think they will stay afloat. They will be fine because Jacque Vaughn has been great all year since he started. He's been able to keep these guys level-headed. Kyrie Irving has been amazing. The ball movement is exceptional. Ben Simmons is a good playmaker, so you can keep him running the offense. The defense is good. That's 0 points, though. Listen, I know we like to say he plays the Draymond role, the Lonzo Ball role. Lonzo Ball averaged 14 points a game. Lonzo Ball can shoot the 3 ball. Exactly. Draymond Green, to a degree, is aggressive when he needs to be. He can attack the basket. He'll hit shots. Ben Simmons,
don't gas him.
He has the ability to attack the rim. He has the ability to finish against Luke Kornet, to finish against Rob Will. He's 6'10". He's athletic. He's strong. He's physical. So it's like we're upset because he has the ability, and he's just not showing it. I think he has to not have these games where he scores 0 points. I know he done other things. He can rebound. He can play make. But when Kevin Durant is out, you need that other guy. You need that next-level guy that can create buckets and can score. It can't just be the Kyrie Irving show and then everybody else. It has to be somebody else. And it could be anybody on every given night, but I don't expect Royce O'Neal to come out and give you 20 to 25 points creating for other. I don't expect that. He's a shooter. I expect him to be ready to shoot. But I expect Ben Simmons, the next guy who has the ability to do that, I expect him to come up and be able to be more aggressive. He has to do that. And then in the playoffs, it's going to be tough because I asked this question the other day. What if teams play Hacker Claxton, Hacker Ben? That's going to be tough. Both of them cannot shoot free throws. So I just think it's not a big deal. 0 points is still fucking crazy, but it can be fixed. Ben Simmons, he's known for years he needs to be more aggressive. So this is just recurring thing. We don't need to keep telling him the same things. He knows he needs to be more aggressive. He should have been more aggressive in Philly. He needs to be more aggressive in Brooklyn. This is the same thing we've been preaching for 3 to 4 years. This is nothing new. But now with Kevin Durant out for a month, he needs to definitely step his game up. But I do think in the end the Nets will be fine because they are well coached and defensively they've been amazing.
So over these last 10 games, you could argue that the Brooklyn Nets have been the best team in basketball. Number 1 net rating, number 4 offense, and the best defense in the NBA over these last 10 games. You would expect that to be the opposite, where, of course, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, they've been cooking, but what really has been heightened has been their defensive output. Of course, you lose Kevin Durant, one of the most prolific scorers this game's ever seen, but of course, the MVP candidate this season. It's going to sting, but over the next month, the schedule they have is relatively light. Over these next 4 games, it's pretty simple. River already mentioned it. They have the Spurs. They have, the Spurs, the
Detroit,
Thunder, the Suns,
Lakers.
Detroit.
A lot of winnable games.
So then it's towards the back end of January where they start to have a little bit of a challenge. Then in February, they started off with a bang. They do play the Celtics.
In Boston.
That's what I'm saying. So they have a good amount of games right now to get at least quote unquote comfortable without Kevin Durant. You have 4 games where you start to see, all right, what's our identity without Kevin Durant? What can we really do without one of the premier players in the league? And you said it very perfectly. This is going to allow Ben Simmons a little bit more opportunity. You would have liked to seen it last night. Of course, that was not the case, but this was a game that he could take away and learn from. We like to think that with Ben Simmons all the time, that he had so many learning experiences, and it seems like he hasn't. But in this opportunity where now he's going to be relied on a little bit more offensively, I can see it where we'll actually start to see his attempts per game go up, where hopefully we see a little bit more aggression out of him. That's what I want to see in Kevin Durant's absence. I think regardless, the defense is going to be fine. Of course, Kevin Durant, where we talk a lot about his offensive game, this show we've tried to highlight how great of a defender he has been this year, specifically as a shot blocker as well. You mentioned it as a rebounder. He will be missed, and it was seen last night where Celtics absolutely dominated the boards. But the defense will be fine. Jacque Vaughn is a coach of the year for a reason. He's going to continue to instill that into the boys. But the offense, that's where you want to see who's going to pick up the slack. Is it going to be Moran, who had over 20 last night? He looked really good. Kyrie, not the great efficiency, but you trust and rely on Kyrie regardless, whether he's going to have an off night, because he is Kyrie Irving. He's going to catch a heater eventually because that's just what he does. Then you have guys like off the bench you can rely on. They have really good shooting around them as well, where they're limited into the attempts, but they're definitely one of the more efficient from beyond the arc. But I am looking for Ben to become more aggressive in this span because the opportunity will be there. And this could potentially be a bonus for him down the stretch where at least now he has the confidence come playoff time that, okay, I know what I can do when I have the basketball in my hand. I need to trust myself and trust my abilities. Because of the heightened opportunity, maybe it'll carry over into then where he won't see the same opportunity then, but at least he can trust himself that he can do so. I trust in the Brooklyn Nets for sure. Around 500 is pretty fair, especially Kyrie Irving wants to be talked about like I continue to do as being one of the best players in the league because he has up until this point been one of the best players in the league this season. But now especially, you need to be the leader in the locker room. You need to be the guy that's going to go out there night in, night out and dominate on the offensive side of the game. And I think that he can do so. But this is now his opportunity to put it on a world basis to put everyone on notice.
Yeah, I agree with majority of everything y'all said. You guys are focusing on Ben Simmons. I am focusing on everybody else. We already know what Ben Simmons is offensively, like, you know, as a playmaker, as a facilitator, as getting everybody else involved. But as a scorer, we know he still has some question marks. So, you know, I'm not really expecting too much out of him. Like, yeah, it would be great to see him step his game up from a scoring standpoint. But we know that's not, you know, what he's going to do. I am more so focused on TJ Warren. Like, when TJ Warren, I'm just looking at his numbers, he's shooting 54% from the field this year, you know, and he's been really, really, really efficient, like efficient towards the point of back when he was on the Pacers, the bubble year 2020. So, you know, obviously on less attempts, but that's somebody I want to see get going. And as his minutes go up, as he starts to play more into his role, that's somebody who I expect to come in and, you know, obviously not, you know, fill the void for KD, but, you know, put some more shots up and, you know, just get more into the rhythm. And I feel like he can be, personally, I feel like upwards to maybe even an 18 per game score in KD's absence. And, you know, maybe the Nets do start to struggle, like you said, like you guys said, after the first 4 games, just to see how they can, you know, mesh without KD, see what works for them, what doesn't work for them. I feel like if you give them more time, I don't feel like they fall out of, you know, obviously they're number 2 right now in the East. I think maybe you can see them waver from 2 to 5, but anything lower than that, you know, other than the Sixers and the Cavs and the Bucks, you know, I don't see them falling out of that. So, and you guys also, I feel like Kyrie has to step up and be that guy. You know, I feel like personally he's going to be, if he keeps this up, he can be all NBA maybe. but for sure, all-star starter so far with his play so far this year. Not shooting the 3-ball as well, but it's still, the same guy from 2. Getting into the paint, being that rim threat, getting his other teammates involved. I want to see him more of that. So yeah, I feel like this team, they're still going to be, top of the East still. And when KD comes back into the game, into the equation, I feel like they still have a lot to work out. When it comes down to the playoffs with how you play Ben Simmons and Claxton together. But we're just talking about the regular season right now. So no, I don't feel like they wavered that much. They still have the pieces there, and they've got it done. Jack Vaughn has done a real good job this year, keeping them prepared for each matchup, each thing that teams are throwing their way, each just things that are coming that they don't expect to happen. He's done a great job of game planning for those things and keeping them ready. So I think that they'll be fine for the most part. Obviously, KD was like the MVP before he left. Before he got hurt. So obviously, there's going to be times, throughout this next month where we're going to look at them and, maybe they don't have the closer other than Kyrie, that can get it going, or just players and, getting a rhythm that often or that quickly. But like I said, for the most part, I think they'll be fine. They'll be all right. But playoffs, when KD and them does come back, they still have some issues with like Dehls was talking about with the Claxton and Simmons dynamic and how they can get played off the floor. So yeah, we can get into that another time. But for the most part, they'll be fine. And
it's like you can look at the Nets and think they kind of caught a break here. Similar injury last season. Kevin Durant misses 2 months, 9 weeks, something like that.
More time.
So to only be out a month, the Nets have to be looking at this and without lack of better word, as a blessing, because he definitely could have been much worse. You're only missing a month, and he's missing a month where the Nets have been playing great basketball. So at least you can have confidence in this Nets team. I'm sure Nets fans, of course, are devastated that Kevin Durant's hurt, but at the minimum, I know that all my Nets fans that I'm friends with, they're comfortable, they trust this Nets team, and they're excited to see what this Nets team is about without Kevin Durant being the guy night in, night out.
It feels they feel more able to survive it. Last year, they went on an 11-game losing streak without him, right? They went on a stretch where they were playing like the worst team in basketball at a point, and Jordan brought it up. TJ Warren has come in and played great. He didn't start off the year, but he came in, somewhat recently after that, or someone soon after that, and came in, and it really seemed like he didn't miss a beat. He came in, and that's what he does. He scores the basketball, and he could pretty easily be their third best shot creator. I know you've been high on TJ Warren. You've been high on the whole Nets team, so I guess someone has to hit.
It's a
right?
good roster.
He's
not to be high about.
No, yeah, TJ Warren came in, and has played really well, been a great shot creator for them, and they're going to need that come playoff time too, because obviously teams are going to hone in on Kyrie and KD, and if he could be really that third person who could create his own shot, because outside of that, I mean, you look at Curry and Royce O'Neal, they don't really have the same type of creation skills that a guy like that Warren can, and he showed it a lot. 20 points against the Celtics last night when he is, relied on as the second option offensively.
Kyrie Irving has to step up in this stretch. That's really it. That's all it comes down to. He has to average 30. I think Ben Simmons, it's not too much to ask of 10 from him.
Get your attempts up. That's 10. It. I just want to see your attempts up.
And TJ Warren, I thought has been really good. He's a starter on the bench. He's a starter in this league still. He is. But the injury derailed his career a bit. He's bouncing back with the Nets.
Yes.
And if the Nets can make one more move for a shot creator and a point of attack defender or a rebounding center.
They need another big. I personally think they need another big.
We're talking about something serious with the Nets here.